Next topic. Check and confirm progress and value delivered. You might recollect that the improvement review was part of the step 6. And that was, did we get there? For each iteration of an improvement initiative, it could be done. Agreed success factors and KPIs must be used to confirm success or otherwise. Subjective evidence may also be included. Stakeholder reports, opinion surveys, etc. may need a formal review for complex projects. But even a simple improvement needs review. What is the definition of an improvement review? An evaluation using metrics and other evidence to determine whether an improvement has achieved its desired outcomes, and if not, what needs to be done to complete the work. Use the review to update the plans. An improvement review is sometimes called a benefits realization review. Here, what we mean by this, use the review to update plans means, if it's an iterative approach, then the plan may have to be modified based on the results of the review. As an example, if you had that an improvement action, a specific improvement action for reducing the change-related failures, then this review will check whether the target was reached or not, and what was the benefit by reaching the target. Meaning, did reducing the failure of changes lead to better customer satisfaction or user satisfaction? And did it reduce the value leakage which was happening due to failed changes? Those are the things which need to be checked. And as part of that, there's also lessons learned analysis. An evaluation of an improvement initiative or iteration for the purpose of understanding what did or did not go well and what should be done differently in similar future circumstances. While the improvement review was done in the step 6, it is in the step 7 where the lessons learned analysis is done. So it focuses on evaluation of the overall initiative to understand what went well, what did not go well, and what can be done differently in the future in similar circumstances. Every practice needs to be continually improved, including the continual improvement practice also. Analyze what went well and what did not. Identify things that could have been done better. Lessons can be learned at any time. Try to correct mistakes when they happen, but document them and learn from them too. Use the lessons learned to help you improve how you make improvements in the future. Improvement itself can be improved. That's the message. There are lots of references available for how to schedule lessons learned meetings or retrospective meetings and so on. And we would like to leave you with one book listed here, which is quite popular, Project Retrospectives, a handbook for team reviews. This is not only for the continual improvement lessons reviews or lessons learned analysis, but also for any kind of improvement, any kind of review, particularly agile projects, the retrospectives at the end of each iteration. Next one is embedding continual improvement in the service value system. These pictures below are of the service value system on the left with its 5 elements, which takes in the opportunity demand and converts to value using guiding principles, governance, service value chain, practices, and continual improvement. And we've got on the right the 4 dimensions, namely the organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers, value streams and processes, and also the organization influenced by the 6 external factors, also known as the PESTLE factors. Embedding continual improvement in the SVS. Everyone knows that continual improvement is a good thing. Nobody doubts it. It is only effective when it is embedded in the culture. It doesn't happen by itself. Even if you have a continual improvement register and a process for managing improvements, this will not make it happen. It seems there is some other energy required to make it happen, rather than just having a register and a process. Consider using organizational change management to help get there. Organizational change management is concerned more with the changes to the organization's way of working rather than a specific process. It focuses more on the people element, the human element of change. We will go to that topic further, as well as the practice of OCM as part of this. OCM meaning organizational change management as part of this DPI course. Each change initiative is owned by a change agent. Change agent, a role that facilitates the development, application, and advocating of new ways of working, is usually somebody who can show some leadership qualities, who can own the initiative and drive it to success, while understanding the human element mainly. Key people often drive continual improvement, meaning the change agents. This is great until they leave or change roles. Generally, we need key people to drive the continual improvements, but what happens when they leave? If there are no successors to them, then the improvements will stop happening or will not be done properly. Okay. Embedding continual improvements in the SVS. Key elements of a continual improvement culture. We have a list of the elements or the traits which are required in a continual improvement culture. Transparency, management by example, building trust, positive behaviors, continual improvement expectations to be clear, and success, marketing of the success. Transparency, as much as possible, create a culture that is open, sharing, and based on trust. Management by example. This needs to be shown by all and leaders in particular, where words and promises are followed up and acted upon. It is like walking the talk. Building trust, which is again connected to transparency. Establishing a comfort zone where people feel enabled and supported in trying out new ideas. Making suggestions, experimenting. A safe zone. Active encouragement of positive behaviors in recruitment, onboarding, meeting culture, language, and taxonomy. So even in the HR related areas like recruitment and onboarding, the behaviors need to be positive. For example, staying positive on the candidates being interviewed, and also staying positive on the process of recruitment. There may be issues generally because recruitment can be a very challenging affair, but staying positive and making things happen, things happen is important by gradual improvements. So positive behavior leads to detection of the flaws and making improvements quickly. Otherwise, there'll be just complaints on the delays of recruiting and onboarding, or maybe other things in the organization. Continual improvement expectations, they should be clearly defined as not just permitted, but wholly expected of all people involved. So it's not that the leadership says that that you are allowed to make improvements, but it is expected all the time. Finally, success, this needs to be constantly marketed and celebrated across all teams. People have to know what was improved so that the motivation remains to do more improvements. There may be some incentives given or awards, recognition on the basis of improvements. Excuse me. Yeah, give me a moment. Here you have the next slide. Everyone who contributes in any way to the provision of a service must constantly look for improvement opportunities. Improvements can be implemented at any level: individual, team, business unit, entire organization, service across partner organizations. So read this as service and across partner organizations. Creating a continual improvement culture. Consider the impact of change on people. A single improvement is not as good as embedding an improvement culture. It's not about how many improvements happen, but whether the culture exists first of all, because once the culture exists, then it becomes easier to drive improvements, to identify improvements, and so on. Organizations with good improvement culture usually have strong governance, allows them to assign resources, and provides management and leadership needed. Successful improvement culture is balanced. Momentum is maintained, but rate of change is manageable. Meaning if the rate of change is fast, there could be fatigue, meaning people will get exhausted with the amount of improvements and changes. Avoid overloading the organization with many large improvements, therefore. Many people see formal improvements as beyond their responsibilities. Hiring people to facilitate improvement can help reinforce the need and embed it in the culture. Embedding is a long-term affair. It is okay to do one improvement and stop, but having it a regular habit can be challenging. In general, operations people, if they focus on improvement, they may lose track of operational aspects. That's why it is recommended that we may have some additional people who may come in as improvement coaches or improvement leaders, or who are forming a dedicated team for improvement. Because in general, for any improvement, continual improvement initiative, at least a few members should be forming a dedicated team for that improvement, while others may be used on a non-dedicated manner. For example, operational staff can be used in a non-dedicated manner for that improvement. In general, creating a continual improvement culture and the change elements can be challenging in order to embed this CI into the organization. Therefore, it's important that the leadership support is strong and the expectations are realistic. Too much, also sometimes the focus, if it is on too much on the activities, it's not good, because the focus should be in the human element. If the vision is poor, then also the improvement may not happen properly. Governance, on one hand, we say that it should be strong. On the other hand, making it too strong can be also a problem. Rather, the reliable governance would be important while keeping sufficient governance. Because too many rules may mean less flexibility. And generally in improvements, different set of stakeholders come and they should all be treated in a different way, particularly to embed changes. If all stakeholders are treated in the same way as the same persona, then it may not work because each persona of stakeholder or each group of stakeholders may have a different mindset. And embedding may require certain ownership of accountabilities or certain responsibilities for some benefits of the improvement um, to sustain the improvement benefits, etc. And with that, we have come to the end of this section, part 2. Thank you. Okay, that was also done.
Okay.